Good morning, Dana. Happy
Good
Monday.
morning, Wendy. Happy Monday.
How are
Cheers.
you? How are you?
I'm good. I slept well. I kind of slept in, but that's
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah,
was
actually
actually,
I
I
slept
was,
in too.
mhm.
Yeah. I my husband has a lot of shoulder issues and stuff like that, so I tend to give him like a massage and stuff like that. And I found I had made this not a cream, but kind of like a thick syrupy magnesium
Oh, cool.
concoction out of some magnesium chips or citrate chips or something. And I use that a little bit on his back to help him sleep a little bit too. So, because I mean, we're all kind of lacking on our magnesium. So when I give him a massage in the evenings, for his shoulders to help him relax, I used a little bit of that too. And then I used a little bit, like, obviously I got on my hands and everything else. I slept so good last night, and I have a feeling it was just the magnesium I had given to him, and he actually
Um,
slept pretty good too. So it was nice.
you're holding out on a magnesium liquid recipe, Wendy? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll have to get it and put it out there for you.
You better put that on down below.
Okay, I'll make my notes right now.
Thank
Um,
you. Because I have, like, yeah, magnesium.
yeah,
Like, we are deficient in
yes,
it.
very much.
Um, better sleep. We need it for bone building. We need it for, oh my gosh, a
Yeah.
bazillion things. Um, but getting it in many sort of like Epsom salt baths but that magnesium gel, like,
Mhm.
it's hard to come by. And if you have a recipe for that, oh my gosh, like,
It's actually it turns into more of like a liquid because I think it's in a I can't remember the base because it was called a sleepy foot soak is what it was. But and we would just sort of put a little bit on your feet because a lot of people get that restless leg situation going on in the evenings too, which makes it hard for them to sleep.
oh, my
So
husband is like
yeah.
like crazy. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, my
So I
husband's
know
crazy with restless leg, and I'm like, just take some magnesium. And he's
I
like, never.
had
So, I mean, maybe I can rub it into his legs or something.
yeah, I had some extra magnesium citrate. It comes in like flakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mixed it into a shea butter whipped concoction that I got from my friend in Espanola. She has her own beauty, like creams and different things that she makes up called Simplicity. And I put different oils in it. I took what her thing was, which is an amazing product on its own, but I put more oils in it, and then I put some this magnesium citrate stuff into it there last night too. So it was yeah, it was a good sleep. That's all I can say. And he was actually pretty good too. He slept quite a few hours. I don't know if it was pain free by any means, but it was a few. And he said it was good. So that's all good
But
things.
it
But I'll
helps.
definitely
Yeah.
put
Excellent.
some link
Excellent.
to that thing that I had for sure. Because actually, I just saw the in my cajillion files that I have. I just actually saw it the other day. It was like, oh, there it is. Yeah.
Well, it was meant to be. We are talking
Yeah.
about it, and you're going to post it for everybody. So
Yes,
that'll
I
be
will.
amazing.
I will. I'll put that on there. So, other than that, you had a good weekend.
I had an incredible weekend. It was a changing weekend, that's for sure. I have I don't even remember what I did on Saturday, to be honest. It kind of just flew by. Other than bread making, and I made 2 loaves of sourdough yesterday. Um, one in my bread maker to see how that would turn out. I did throw a little extra yeast in it to make sure it actually rose high
Oh,
enough,
nice.
because the sourdoughs tend to be more of that artisan kind of look to things.
Hmm.
And then the second one, I actually proofed for 4 hours at 85, well, in a warm oven. And it actually turned out well, really fluffy. That
Nice.
first loaf I made on Friday, that little round one or the
Hmm.
semi round one, the texture is nice. It's nice and thicker. It slices better. It's more of that artisan, thicker,
Hmm.
less bubbly, I suppose. And it was good. They're both good. I took cut it my one in half and took it to my mother-in-law. Made soup, like using up my vegetables in the freezer. Made some chicken vegetable soup and had sourdough bread. It was really quite tasty. So,
Nice.
not helping me with not eating carbs, but I don't care right now.
Well,
Really,
a small
I'd have
taste.
to limit it to one meal a day. Maybe that could be. my goal. And we're still working on my banana bread that I had made the other day. You know, the sourdough, I don't know whether it's the sourdough or maybe it's just I haven't made it for such a long time. So moist.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. It is so moist and light and so full of flavor. So it's quite nice. I checked on my, what am I going to call it? Do I call it a name or do I just say my starter? Um,
You should give it a
Bob.
name.
Yeah, Bob. Bob. Bubbly Bob. Bubbly Bob is bobbing along. No, it looks great this morning. And it's been a little liquidy, so I kind of reduced. I took a lot of it out yesterday. I have a large starter. So that bread recipe calls for 2 cups of starter. So I might try a different one next time with less and be able to proof it differently. Janice Price actually added a recipe for easy starter in my feed on my personal page. So I might take the time and do that and actually do it properly like a sourdough. I need to pick up some more whole unbleached flour, and I'll probably go to the Seasons Culinary. So because I know they have. Oh, did you?
I saw her on the news last night there.
Yeah. She said she was on. I saw that post, but which is great. Way better news than listening to what happened in Nova Scotia. So
yes, actually, I wanted to send out a prayer and my condolences to all of our friends out in Halifax and Nova Scotia. That's just
devastating.
I don't like talking about stuff like that too much because I'll just start tearing up, but it just breaks my heart. So sending out all my love to those people.
That's for sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. I mean, if you have a chance to support something local, that's for sure. That Seasons Culinary, call them, ask them what you need. They have there, and if not, they can order it in for you. They are phenomenal ladies.
Yeah,
not gonna lie, they're really nice.
Actually, on the news last night, they were talking about the fact that it was Garlic Day yesterday for some reason, and I mean, not Italian, but I do love my garlic.
I know.
Yesterday, I just happened to put together. My husband's like, every day is like, "What do you want for supper?" I don't know, hon. What do you feel like making? And then if he thinks about it long enough, he's like, spaghetti. So anything spaghetti. So it's like pasta, sauce, doesn't matter. He's just like a big carb guy. So anyways, I ended up making, because I didn't have a lot of stuff. And it's not just like you can go out to the grocery store nowadays and pick up things.
Yeah.
So I ended up just using what I had in my cupboard, which was like canned tomatoes, which is I'm not the biggest fan of for tomato sauce, but I used that. And I had a couple of tomatoes that were looking a little rough on the counter, use that, and a bunch of other things that I usually put in, like your celery, your onions, and just like tons of garlic. So I was really pushing those vampires away last night. And then I made a bruschetta that went on top of that as well, and with tons of garlic. And I mean, I just love, and my husband's like, he's not a big fan of garlic, but it's like, oh, she's at it again with the garlic. So he got his fair share of garlic last night.
My kids were always like that. They were always like, okay, Mom, slow down on the garlic. Holy, and James is the same. So I make sure, I don't know whether I can't taste it. I don't no idea. I love it. I mean, roasted garlic, you roast up it in the olive oil, right in the little things, and then you spread it over little baguettes with some bruschetta. Oh my gosh, delicious, right?
Yeah.
But did you ever cut off the top of the garlic clove and pour olive oil on it and bake it in the oven?
Yeah.
It's delicious, right?
It's so sweet and so
buttery.
So mild, but so good.
Yeah, so good. But same thing. And I have a few extra ones, so hopefully I will use them up until they start sprouting, and then I'll plant them and see how it goes from there. I'm gonna have to bring in my other pot, since it's not gonna be cold enough for us to plant plants yet outside. I might as well pull in my other pot and start doing the second pot of table scraps and stuff. So
yeah, we were wanting to talk about that today a little bit, about sprouting and table scraps and different things, and how we can just incorporate that and keep things without having to throw them into our compost. I don't know how many people actually compost nowadays. I grew up with my mother, my parents were big composters, and I mean that stuff to me is like black gold. you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
you can't get
We
anything better for your gardens but those composts. So I'm always
yeah.
composting.
Down here in Long Lake area, we don't. I don't even. I'm unfortunately I don't even do the green box because it's just a bear magnet. It's like bear bait outside. So
Yes.
nobody on our street or actually around our little neighborhood,
Hmm.
very rarely does anyone put out a compost
Makes sense.
bin,
Yeah.
because if it's not the bear, it's the raccoons. If it's not that, it's the foxes. At that, we have to cover up everything because of the silly crows that are out here. So
True, true. Yeah, I mean, there's
yeah,
ways around that, but I mean, unless you're like a hardcore gardener, yeah, I'm not
yeah,
a hardcore gardener, so I mean, I do have my compost and I do flip it, and but there's ways of getting around that, and but I'm not there
yeah. I would
personally.
love to. I would love
Yeah,
to. Other than I would think that the bear would get into it. But
yeah,
yeah, sprouting. Maybe we'll talk about that
mhm.
this week. I'll
Yeah,
get some started. I have all my stuff here
oh yeah.
today,
So explain to
and
me a little bit how that works with just the
oh
jar. I mean, you don't have to go out
yeah,
and buy like the thirty
no, you
dollar
can.
thing, eh? Or
Well, you can. I don't think it was $30, but this is a
whatever the
great.
price.
This is by Now,
Oh, you can.
and yeah, Now Real Food. And it comes with the mesh.
Oh, nice.
It comes with a separate screen that you can use with the smaller seeds. So
Mhm.
basically, you're measuring out. You're of course washing and rinsing everything. You're picking your seeds that you want to do. You measure it out, rinse it, soak it overnight, and then that's a continual daily thing where you want to lay it on its side, rinse and do those things. A lot of people use citric acid or perhaps a hydrogen peroxide base to rinse it to remove any of that sort of salmonella. Um,
Like
that
in
may
between?
rise when it's too warm, right?
Okay.
And that's it. You just find a nice little dark, not too warm, but not cold spot. And you may want to hang it upside down, or you may want to put it on its side with the mesh on. And after 4 days, then you put it out into the sunlight and do that. Not many people actually sprout, I think, around here because we have some phenomenal sprouting houses like in New Sudbury and in the
Oh,
valley. There are some microgreen um, businesses that are local.
know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So as part of your food boxes, so if you're a part of any food boxes, or maybe say is it Crest Trustler up in Timmins area, they have microgreens there. Actually, you can probably call Seasons and ask Rachel. The microgreens you can get, but very, very readily around here. Like you can probably go and order it. They probably have a food box program, and even mushrooms. If you do not know that we have local mushroom
Yeah, yeah,
producer,
I know that. Yeah, I've used
the
that.
Ugly Barn, incredible mushrooms. So if you have a chance this week to call them or get part of that box program that they have, they're phenomenal. My James doesn't like mushrooms too much, so I don't go too crazy, but they have lion's mane, they have reishi, they have oyster, they have everything. So the one thing I found with sprouting, it there's different kinds. The mung bean actually has the biggest nutritional profile.
Okay, that's good to
So
know.
we'll add that sort of
Hmm.
in the show notes to talk about that. But what you're trying to do is incorporate the most compact amount of nutrients in your best bang for your buck, right?
Hmm.
So you're
Hmm.
adding them to salads, you're adding them to omelets, you're adding them even sprouted as part of your bread profile, right? You can do that 1 day sprouting breads as well, just to sort of activate the natural nutrients and enzymes that are in the seeds to allow that raw food component to your program, or just to dinner, or to anything, whether it's in your smoothies or whether it's on top of your chili. There's endless uses for it. So mung bean is a great easy seed to start off with. You
Hmm.
can use lentils, like even these, the ones I picked up at the grocery store,
Oh, really?
rinse them. Yeah,
So they
like it
don't have
doesn't,
to be like specialty kind
I
of.
don't, you know what? The beans are not expensive. You can sprout and try, and if it doesn't work, then it's only 2 tablespoons. Throw it away,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Beans
Yeah,
cost
exactly.
nothing.
Beans cost nothing, right? I don't like cooking. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not like cooking with dry beans. I cannot get, I'm so used to canned beans. I can't get past that little
That's okay.
consistency of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the broccoli seeds
Wow.
are really fantastic. So they're just little tiny, I don't know, sorry, little tiny seeds.
Okay.
And it even smells like broccoli. Really fantastic when you're trying to increase your cruciferous vegetable component, that I3C and DIM, that sulforaphane, all those things that are really important for your estrogen metabolism, hormone support. And we'll talk about more of this in my 5-day hormone detox, which will be coming up, released on Friday. And then as I talk about it again in my Eat Your Way to Hormone Health, and then in my Living for Transformation program, Living with Intention Transformation program, we talk about this too, because really, all of the, I mean, yes, you can take all the supplements. I take I3C just because I haven't been sprouting and I eat lots, but I want to ensure that I'm metabolizing my estrogens better. It actually helps support liver health. There's so many great things to it. Now, this is like just a tiny, they're not expensive. You can get them online. You can find them at quite a few different places.
What are those again?
These are mustard.
Mustard seeds. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So just like regular mustard seeds that you would use to
now that I don't know.
In the garden, or do they have to be special ones?
That I don't know. I do not know if the seeds that you use for gardening are pre-treated with an insecticide and fungicide, unfortunately, right? Because they want the survival
ones for sure.
Yeah, you'd want organic for sure.
I mean, always.
But
to be honest with you,
they're very easy to grow as well.
I bet you they would add a nice flavor to sandwiches and stuff, right?
Oh, they are spicy. They are so delicious. I like the green onion ones as well. The green onion sprouts. Yes. So that was a great one too. Yeah. And this is another one that actually came with my sprouting package.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't used this one because I was just using mung bean. This is white mustard. If you've never had mustard sprouts,
okay, I haven't.
They are delicious. Okay. You can do alfalfa.
Yes, that's the most one you see in the grocery store, I think, is alfalfa.
Yeah, the alfalfa sprouts. And again, you're just looking for the best nutrient component that you can possibly have. You can do alfalfa, broccoli, clover, kale, mustard, onion, radish, sesame as well. Yeah. And then for beans, you can use your chickpeas, lentils, mung bean, and even peas.
Nice.
Now, even with
sprouts would be nice. Sorry.
Yeah,
my mouth is starting to salivate.
So I went, I'm at whole, we'll add this link later. The wholefully.com has sprouting 101. So that gives you that sort of idea of what grains, what nuts, what legumes, and then what seeds, kind of with that amount, the yield, soaking time, rinsing time, and when you can harvest them. So it's definitely something that if you've already got your garden already planned, right? It doesn't take much, doesn't take a lot to plant a huge garden inside your house, and you're running out of space, right? And you still have that itching because we're not like Southern Ontario. We cannot get outside. No. So, and I'm sure everyone's running out of window space, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So I think sprouting is an amazing tool to, one, fill the need of you wanting to grow and wanting to get in there and do something productive other than baking bread, get in that workout with kneading. But the sprouting is incredible. Like, we'll add some links and we'll talk about that, and we'll
actually something that I've been curious about for many, many years, and I think it's something that I might actually try this year, especially those onion ones. I don't know, for some reason that really I can just taste nice sandwiches, because when the tomatoes come out and the basil comes out, I can just see it's absolutely so true. And you know what, Wendy, you should probably look at why
you need onions. What part of onion are you craving?
Yeah.
And then figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
Right?
know we have a tendency to crave things that we need specifically. It's interesting. That's why I
Right.
know this time of
Right.
year,
Right.
even though, and I was talking about this in my private group, that even though we're still going through cravings and we're having all these issues with, because we're all home and we're eating too much and eating the wrong foods, because of the cool weather, we're not really craving those greens and the light foods and we're still craving the carb dense foods and the heavy foods, that because our bodies are like, no, we're still in hibernation, forget it.
We're still in
So cold.
hibernation. Like, what did it get up to yesterday? Maybe 7 degrees. It's like,
Yeah.
even today, it's so beautiful out there. I think it's hovering at 0. Like, it's just crazy. But it's so true. So one, it's not warm enough yet. Even the buds are not out on the trees. Like, everyone's on hold. Even the trees are on hold.
Yeah.
You can see them, but they haven't done anything. Like last year, they were there, and then poof. And by this time, it's hard to say. Like last couple years ago, we had another foot of snow. So, but the stress.
Yeah.
I think the level of stress is certainly part of that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to add, don't be afraid to sprout. They're just seeds.
Yeah.
If it goes bad, you just toss them out, or do those types of things, or compost them. Don't be afraid. It's only tablespoons of something.
Yeah.
And you can experience, like sourdough.
True.
If it smells bad, toss it out. Like it's don't be afraid of it, and have fun with it. It's just flour. Yes, I know flour is a bit of a shortage, but you can find it. You can order it for curbside pickup at we talk about Seasons Culinary a lot, so please make sure you add that to that thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, just because
shout out
are
to
fantastic.
Rachel.
Anyways, big shout out to Rachel. And they do have starter there anyways. And a lot of the health food stores have starter.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I think this week, not only trying to finish all my other stuff and actually finishing my laundry pile. That's probably a good one.
Yeah, me too. That's on my list today.
Yeah, laundry pile. And I would love to just completely empty my closet. This is my problem. I have these big plans and then don't do anything. Get sidetracked. But I think I want to make cheese.
Didn't our friend make that once?
Paulette made that.
She made some feta. You can get those kits online, eh?
I think we can. So let's ask Paulette which kit she uses. But I think you can simply just pick up. There is rennet at Walmart. I saw it in the international section on the top shelf. But there are some really great simple cheeses that you can make from around the world, like paneer, or even just a simple feta or a simple soft cheese that you can make with the whey discard from yogurt.
Oh.
And or from some other stuff. So I don't think it's as complicated as we think it is.
Oh,
and
boy.
Again, it's just like a few cups of milk. You know. So we'll talk about, maybe we'll see. Well, we'll take a look and see. I'm hoping to get out today and go look for some, and look for some old school recipes. I'm still trying to find my German cookbook.
Oh, nice. It's amazing how this time is both complicated and nasty and upsetting and stressful, but at the same time we're going back and we're opening up to things that we haven't thought about for a long time, that like you with your starter, and I've been baking bread. I've been doing a lot of home cooking and I mean, it's not like I've ever worked out I haven't worked out of the house in about a year. So, but all of a sudden now I'm like, I'm going to start baking bread. I'm going to start doing my sauces from scratch. I feel like making some sprouts now, and all these different things that are just, I could have done 6 months ago, but I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, we have the time, so why not try it? And if you have kids, then it's a great time to experiment. They can search up the recipes online.
Yes.
They can go search in the cupboard for the ingredients and learn how to measure out ounces or metric, sorry. It's a great tool for kids to learn how to, I mean, I would probably drive my kids crazy if they lived here, because I would be like, okay, so today we're making this, and then we're going to make some sauerkraut, and then we're going to do, and they'd be like, see ya, Mom, we're out of here. We're going hiking in the bush. um, but you know, it's great life lessons. They don't get learned. They don't learn. Or don't get learned. Let's have a coffee. Let's stop for a coffee. Home ec is a skill that's not there. So teaching kids how to make recipes, teaching them how to make spaghetti sauce from scratch, or making a meal that's going to be enough for tomorrow. I think it's a great opportunity, you know, like for myself, I know a girlfriend of mine still has her old 4-H book, right? That's a rural club, right?
Mhm.
And so she's pulling out her old recipes from 4-H.
Wow.
They're very valuable.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone down the sewing road yet, but how many people have pulled out their sewing machines
Yeah.
and are making masks?
Yeah.
Like, wow, when's the last time anyone's really done that? And perhaps people are like, oh, well, we've got another week. Let's do a quilt. Let's do a lap quilt, or let's knit, or there's so many things that you can do, easy projects
Yes. Yeah.
that are going to fulfill the need. But teaching your kids how to do a simple button or sew a button on by hand, or fix a seam. I have a very difficult time with zippers, so I try not to, but there are women out there in the world that are professionals, so use them. But really simple things. I think James has his little pile of stuff that he's like, hey, if you have time, can you fix this? So I need to do that too. But yeah, so I mean,
Many things.
I think people are managing their stress differently.
Yes.
I know it's been a roller coaster for myself. I think yesterday morning during our prayer time for church, and then we had our intercession prayer time during service, which is part of my church that I belong to. Yeah, I just couldn't, I was grieving. It was funny. I was grieving a lot. And I didn't even, I mean, this is way even before the whole Nova Scotia, so I'm glad that didn't happen at the same time. But that whole sense of grieving, in that there's so many people that are ill or trapped or grieving, not trapped, but I mean, they were all stuck at home in isolation. And there are people that that are sick in the hospital, or perhaps at hospice, or people that have had people pass away in the last 5 weeks who haven't had the opportunity to do a celebration of life, right? And I mean, friends of ours, our cousins in down home, had their husband's service online. So they had the immediate family of 5 people, and then they did it online. I mean, there are ways to do things, which is fantastic. And there's still the opportunity to incorporate, and same as prayer. I was so moved during our prayer time. And you can, if you pray, there are prayer movements all over the world. And I think that, and even for if you don't, that whole meditation, there are people, and this is the first time in history, I think that's what blew me away. Everyone is doing something at the same time, completely around the world, right around the world at the same time. It is absolutely incredible. The amount of, movement during, whether it's through meditation and prayer, or whether it's through prayer movements, people lining up in the streets, like in Malaysia, all at one time, praying on their knees, or even with our small group, all praying at the same time. But there's many movements all across the world. So if that's something that interests you, seek it out, because it's such a rare moment. It's a rare time that all of this is happening at once.
Yeah,
it's
no,
so
that
incredible.
energy that comes from that kind of stuff, because I've done world prayer meditations before all of this stuff happened, and it's just an amazing feeling, because is that interconnectedness, even though we happen to be individual and alone and isolated perhaps sometimes, you still feel that interconnectedness with the rest of the globe at that point, because
Yep.
you all know that you're all doing that same thing. And if you want to take it away from that end of things, I mean, even what is it, Saturdays at noon, everybody across Canada was singing "O Canada," something like that.
Oh,
Was,
that's cool.
I think it was Saturday or Sunday. I'm not quite sure. I think it was Saturday. I saw it on the TV several times, and everybody got together and would just sing "O Canada" on their own at the same time. It's like that to together at home kind of thing. We're all separate, but we're all together.
Mhm.
And
Well,
even something like
we don't
that is
have,
just amazing energy.
we don't have TV here at home. So, I know we're one of those crazy people. We have an Android box, but and then we have Amazon. But to watch that live show Saturday night that Lady Gaga put on Friday night,
Oh yes.
and we're just going to watch the preview and stuff. But that is another great phenomenal movement.
Yeah.
Like everyone around the world watched it at the same time. It's like that, when they had the AIDS benefit, right? We are the world.
Yeah.
And that whole component of everyone just getting together. I think the thing that really blows me away too, a lot of the times, is that these big stars are just like jamming online.
Yes. It's amazing.
For free.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Actually, talking about what today is actually for especially a lot of people in Canada now, because cannabis is free, not free, it's legal. It's not free.
Could you imagine?
But Willie
legal.
Nelson is doing one of those big things today in commemorative of 420. And he's actually has like baking people, chefs, singers, all kinds of different kinds of entertainers, all surrounding this whole genre or
yes.
culture.
Wendy and I are not the professionals about cannabinoids, or we would have talked about it. And all the other people were too busy because they have their own events today because it's 420.
It's a busy day,
it's a busy day around Canada for cannabinoid use. So but I mean, I think something.
The little bit that I do know about CBD oils and CBD products and different things like that, I think it's an amazing product, a natural product, one of those things that I want to learn more about, because I want to be able to offer advice to people with regards to it. So I'm looking
same here.
That's having somebody come in and talk to us about that a little bit more, to be able to have
my association, the CanPro, the Canadian Holistic Association of Professionals, anyways, CanPro, Lorena does have a course that she talks about with the cannabinoids. Yeah, Brent Hawes actually has a few topics
he does,
on his podcast about the cannabinoids. And I know that was something that we were looking at for program development as well. But I have been asked, like, I'm not going to lie, like I have been asked quite a few times about what my opinion was about it. When I'm looking at people who use the medicinal marijuana program and I'm looking at them through thermography, I know that their pain relief is there. I know their sleep is better. I actually know that they're eating probably better, but it still doesn't address the root of the issue. Your stomach, and that's the thing. Yes, it does a phenomenal job. And it really helps with a lot of really debilitating issues. I'm not sold yet on the complete anti-inflammatory portion of it, because you haven't addressed the root issue. You haven't healed your gut. You haven't addressed the leaky gut. You haven't addressed the candida. You haven't addressed an anti-inflammatory diet. You haven't changed your diet. And it probably got worse, right? Like, got the munchies, I'm going to eat some chips and go to bed now. But I mean, but they're not moving, maybe not moving as much. They are trying to increase their fitness. It's still their mental component of addressing the stress in the first place is still things that need to be addressed fourfold to really use that medicinal portion or the cannabinoid products. in my professional opinion.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of worth. There's a lot of like incredible products out there for pain relief. Like there's no denying the chemical, the chemistry, all of that biological stuff that's science proved.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're coming to the point of trying to get your body better or heal your body, or it's just, there's so many other levels to things you have to utilize to get better,
Yeah,
not just one thing. Yeah.
It has to be the whole package for sure. About a year and a half ago, about a year and a half ago now, I actually went and asked my doctor to prescribe CBD or
Mm-hmm.
THC for me because I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Right.
And I was at my wit's end, and I was just like, I was clawing at the wall. I didn't know what to do. I was just, I didn't know which avenue I needed to go to. And I didn't know, I didn't want to go towards a pharmaceutical because I know how pharmaceuticals act with me. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to get into that stupor of just like numbness. I don't like that feeling with me. I do like the highs and lows. So I went through the process. I went through the medical marijuana clinic. I talked to the doctor. They prescribed me with a bunch of stuff, but I never filled that prescription. It just didn't sit right with me.
It has to. So
yeah, in the past, I'm not going to lie. I grew up in the 80s. I've had my fair share of THC. And I don't like the feeling, to be honest with you. I don't like that numbness and I know when we get that expert on, she's actually my sister-in-law, and we've talked about this a lot. I know there's a lot of different levels, and understanding the CBD levels as opposed to the THC levels, and then different strains and all these different things. And I don't know enough about that, but it just kind of scared me. So I didn't go through with that, and I just went through some intensive therapy.
If she's not available, I'm sure we could ask Jaden, because she worked at Canna Cabanas until everything just really slowed down. So the Canna Cabana, and so she has her, her certificate, her dealer, however that works, right? You have to be certified. It's like your smart serve.
They
pot.
take,
and Lisa,
your legal dealer.
You're legal. Legal. The different levels of the different components, the different strains now, the different highs or the different lows, or what you're trying to achieve, and then the different varieties. It's not just there's so many different new varieties.
Who knew?
There are so many different ways to use it, right? So it's phenomenal.
I know my daughter actually experiences severe anxiety, and I know she self-medicates, and a little bit goes a long way with her, but it has to be a very specific brand or strain that she has to have, as opposed, because another one will, and it's just a matter of, from what she tells me, is what do you call it, trial and error, to see what one works best for you, I guess. Again, it's not my thing, so I don't know a lot about it. That's why I look towards the experts to
It's interesting. It's a whole interesting phenomena, to be honest, because there's so many positives and negatives to it.
Well, like everything.
But there's still the same, and it's still the same for alcohol.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
I think alcohol is much worse. I think that, but it's you can use it. It's part of you. It's a drug, but the addiction level with it is different, and then oxys or those types of pain relief addictions. Yes, you've got this, and it's just legal, and a lot of people have a faux pas with it, and they really feel that aspect. But I think alcoholism is worse, really. And it's a slippery slope. And
it is. Addiction is addiction, I think. And some people can use the marijuana or cannabis in and still not be addicted, and some people can drink and not be addicted, but then there's
Right.
people that have a tendency towards, I don't know if it's a genetic thing or whether it's
It
a
might be.
psychological or
Yeah.
chemical thing,
Yeah.
or even, you know, emotional thing, but there's some people that tend to go towards the alcoholism or drink too much or smoke too much, or my kids, both of them are, you know, they don't drink a lot, but they do use marijuana,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh mom, it's not addictive. And I know so many people tell me it's not addictive, but there's studies that say it can be addictive.
Well, and then there's the whole mental aspect of
Yes.
using
Yeah.
before any drugs, really, before
Yes.
your 20, 24, around in there, that don't allow the brain to mature properly.
I just have a little story with that. Go ahead.
Oh, go, you go, you
No,
go.
no.
That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Like, the research out there is so compelling both ways.
Yeah. And like you said, we get into a lot of this stuff when we're in our teenage years. And I know my daughter, bless her soul, and I know she's not watching this, so I can say this. She is one of these kids that are kind of like high in intellect. So she has this very high IQ, and she was always one of these people that tested me. I raised her to be a very independent, strong-minded woman, and that's what she is. From the time of 13 till about the time of 2022, she was a handful. Like, I mean, we butted heads. She was arguing with me all the time. She was right about everything. And I just kind of like, okay, you know, I'm more of a passive person. My mom gave me a book during this time because I was going through it. I'm like, oh, mom, did you curse me with this? You know, your daughter's going to be just as bad as you are, kind of thing. Because I was just like at my wit's end. I didn't know what I should be doing for her to be a good parent. Anyway, she gave me this book that said, and I'll never forget it, all teenagers are brain damaged. And literally they are, because their brains are not developed enough until about the 20, 21, 22 point in their lives. And that's a medical fact. It's not just a funny thing that parents say because they're just being driven crazy by their teenagers, but that's a literal fact. And when we start incorporating a lot of these different drugs and testing out marijuana and drinking and all these different things, it can alter a lot of the chemistry in our brains, unfortunately.
No, I mean, I many times with my girls, oh my gosh, I would be calling my mom and I would be like, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
She's just
off.
laughing her head off.
Yeah, mine too.
And I'm like, I'm sure I was that bad. Was I that bad? Did I really do this? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I would call her and be like, I am so sorry. Because I was a handful, I'm sure. Oh, I was a handful for sure. So not going to lie. So, and I'm sure many of my friends from high school are like, oh, they know. Yeah. That's for sure.
That is what it is. I mean, we were all brain damaged. We all went through that teenage years and into our early 20s. So I'm thank the Lord right now. My son is 22 now, so he's just come out of that. And it's really weird because a couple of years ago, I saw and I was like, oh my God, I was pulling my hair out with him. But right now, I'm like, oh my God. Like all of a sudden, boom, he's changed his ways, you know? He's
changed his ways. And the girl, I mean,
developed.
like, that we should talk about our kids another day. Like, that's a whole another hour.
It'll be all day.
It'll be all day. But I mean, it's such a, Yeah.
But we should actually cut it off there. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. Unfortunately, we've got so much.
Yeah, and we have things to do. That's for sure. I have big plans today.
Me too.
Big plans.
I've actually got my extra clothes on. I am going to go out in the garden and try to mess around a little bit and see what I can do.
I'm watching for the mailman today. I'm really hoping I get that CERB. I haven't received it yet. So it's just like, oh my gosh, I have bills to pay and car payments and
well, hopefully it comes in then.
Well, I'm so thankful that, my car leasing company gave me an extension. and my bank loan, I was given an extension. So, don't be afraid to ask
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
financial companies for extensions, or
Yes.
your credit cards, your credit card companies. Don't forget, ask them for an extension while you're waiting. And if you honestly are really, for some strange reason, you don't qualify for CERB, or you haven't received it yet, make sure you try and call in, even though it's a 5 or 6 hour wait to get online. But there are jobs still out there.
Yep.
You can go to, if you don't have your PSW, you don't have any education, but you can have a police check, and you do those things. There are jobs like with Plan A with Sherry Dominic, or there are jobs that are out there, and they are looking for workers.
Yeah.
So if you're not at high risk, desperately need people. So if you're not, and you need, and you can't,
Mm-hmm.
or don't want to stay home, there are lots of jobs out there. So
yeah, there are. So I know, even in the, like you said, specifically in the nursing field or whatever, they are so desperate for PSWs, even just workers.
Well,
to come
what
in.
was the new one that she had talked about? Maybe we'll link that one on there for people who
I don't know.
Do you know
I
what
know
I'm
they're
talking
looking
about?
for RNs, RPNs, PSWs.
There's one that's under the PSW now. That you don't
yeah.
need. You don't need to
Students.
have your PSW. It's like just a person who helps with dishes or folding laundries, or those types of things. Yeah. So I think she had said it was $17 to $20 an hour, and you can pick and choose the hours that you want, and that's just how desperate they are for people. Yeah, but I mean, they're exhausted.
Yeah, they are.
It's such a, oh my gosh, it's just one of those, so needed as the people age and they need help, and the nursing facilities are full, home care facilities are full, and people are not skilled to take care of their parents, nor do they have the space, nor time, nor patience, because they're all working full time. That this is such a needed group of men and women who are just, and it's a gratitude. There's a certain type of person who can do it. That's for sure. Right.
Yeah. It's that's another subject for another day, unfortunately. I mean,
yeah, it sure is. Yes, it is.
We talked a little bit about my my PTSD, and it unfortunately stemmed from my work at the nursing home. So, like
absolutely,
I said, I hear this for another day.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's not an easy job, but it is something that's so desperately needed right now. And I mean, to be honest with you, I am feeling some really heavy guilt for not being there right now.
I bet. Yeah. And but you have to, at some point you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. There's that point that where you are,
mm-hmm.
and healing and taking care of that perhaps down the road you can do that. So
that's like I said, another day we're going to talk a little bit more about that and dive into it. So
beautiful.
That's it for today. I think we'll link some all the things that we talked about today in the show notes. If you have any comments with regards to anything that we talked about, the sprouting, if you have any questions with regards to that, the food boxes, magnesium, I'm going to put that recipe up there.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that.
Dana's upcoming program. All this week, though, in my private group, I'm actually doing pantry clean out, so kind of gearing up towards really getting some structure in our lives, as opposed to having this vacation where we're all gaining a little bit of weight and kind of getting off schedule and stuff. Really, I'm noticing a lot of people want to get back onto schedule and get some structure in their lives. So house cleaning is going to be one of those, and get rid of a lot of the foods that we don't really need right now that are causing all these issues.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? I know you didn't like using up your canned goods, but please use up your canned goods. You don't want to have to look at it and go, shit, that expired 2 years ago. No, use up the stuff you have in your cupboard.
Yeah, not a big advocate for waste so much, but definitely using up what we have or donating. I mean, that's another option as well. So
that's another option. So
Okay, so this was so nice, and we will chat again tomorrow. Have a wonderful
Yes.
day, Dana, and
Have a
everybody
great day.
else.
Be productive. Be happy. Have fun.
Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.